I met my younger self at a bookstore one day. She was strolling through the mystery section as I emerged from the fantasy one. She held a thin book in her hand as I struggled to organize the four in my arms. Her gaze locked on mine, and we stood staring at one another for a while. Her eyes held a raging sea of uncontrolled emotion, and mine were clear as I have learned to lie within the waves. She pulled on her sleeves, and the sight tugged on the strings of my heart. I offered to talk over coffee, but we both know deep down neither of us really enjoyed the bitter taste, and the thick aroma gives us headaches, so instead we took my car down the highway. The same genre of music flowed through the stereo. She stared at me in awe as I drove through the busy streets with ease, and I told her the freedoms that came with the license. Though I didn't mention the scratches on the new red paint we made on our Sweet 16. She was quiet, and it didn't take me by surprise. I told her she could ask me whatever she wants, and her only question was, does it get better? I didn't know what to say. I felt anything could rip at her already fraying seams, so I told her gently, it doesn't get better, but easier. I told her that so much happens, letting her discover the new about herself. Her smiles become easier and hold less weight. I told her she'll find joy in other simpler things, like spitting words on a page, watching the sun fall under the horizon with grace, or a cool breeze tickling her nose. I told her that time goes by fast. In a blink of an eye, she'll be a sophomore in high school, and despite how hard it feels now, the tough decisions she chooses make up the bones of who I am today. I told her that though she longs for a set of strong arms around her, a silly boy not seeing her worth, a silly boy not reciprocating her feelings, a silly boy not going out of his way for her isn't worth it, she should never settle for less. I told her she will gain people, and they'll take advantage of her, tugging her in so many different directions, leaving deep gouges in her arms as they throw her behind to wrap her own wounds. She will learn important lessons, though she might not know some until she's staring them straight in the eyes. I told her the screaming thoughts, the urge to grip the blade became effortless to turn off almost instantly, like swiftly pressing a button. I told her looking in the mirror no longer makes her stomach churn as much as it did before, that she would find comfort in her own body and not let anyone else's words burn her skin, distinguishing the fire before it could even touch her. I told her a bleeding heart is okay, but only she doesn't let it stain her hands red. That feeling harder and deeper than those around her isn't a curse, but only she doesn't let it consume her until she explodes. So eventually, inhaling crisp, fresh air, filling her lungs and expanding against her ribs, becomes breathing to live and not to survive. I say it all to watch a flicker of hope, to see a single ray of sunlight shine through the clouds in her stormy blue eyes. We pull outside her house with a crumbling foundation and cracks running up the wall, and mine feels a lot more like home now. For the foundation is smoothed over with beautiful flowers bursting inside the cracks. I whispered one last thing, that everything going on around her is only bruises. They will look ugly and purple, and she may bang the same spot over and over, and as much as they sting and as stubborn as they may be, time will heal them. For they are not tattoos, only bruises.
The checkered board my garden, the pawns and bishops my thorns, kings and queens are flowers, a game is forever formed. Origami promises and broken words.
Play. 2/3 of my heart devoted to you.
Promises.
Cigarette smoke burning on me.
Broken.
The most valuable piece.
My king.
Is you, my king.
Play.
I move my center pawn up 2 spaces.
E7.
1, 2.
H3.
The hunger that eats at my stomach till 6:30, cause
A2.
I don't feel like eating at 12.
G5.
A thorn that pricks my thumb,
B4.
drawing deep red blood.
Play. My knight moves in the shape of an L right in front of my pawns.
D5.
A promise never fulfilled, a bind of trust never formed.
A4.
A mistake papers of paragraphs could not fix. A
E7.
mistake a tapestry of tears couldn't forget.
B3. I do the same on the opposite side.
H2.
L shaping your beautiful eyes.
A-
The
C4.
disappointment on your face after your shattered
A-
soul
A-
is what I take.
Play. Every pawn a problem, every rook a wish.
E5.
Moving them would be a weed taking over a garden. And
A8.
again I find myself stuck in a ditch.
G3.
I move my pawn up one, my
E2.
past corrupting my mind.
G7.
An F on a test, one I
Test.
wish I could rewind.
Play. Each movement a calculated plan.
Smart.
Paint stand on your warm porcelain hand.
Skin.
Your slender fingers capturing my piece, my pawn, my problem.
Mine.
A smile on your face, sinister and wide.
Game.
My feelings a bike, you taking them for a ride.
Play. A weight on your shoulders, yet it still rains heavy.
Heavy.
I feel as though I am ready.
Am I?
My queen, my hope goes up by 1.
2, 3.
I give you my trust, even if only a crumb.
Bite.
At the start was hesitation, strangers and nothing more.
Love.
What now bloomed a friendship which began to soar.
Play.
Broken promises of a pawn, tragic backstories of a bishop, reality discreetly capturing my rook, consequences corrupting my queen, lies and loyalty unseen. Checkmate!
My grandmother's name is Verna. Some look at her and see Section 8, welfare checks, abuse and neglect. They see insufficiency, ignorant independency, a trench condemned wreck, no collegiate education, no high school diploma. They see lack of dedication. They take one look in my grandmother's eyes and subject her to poverty. They banish her to being a pawn in their monopoly. They gratuitously perpetuate their hate and generously project their mental state. And to this, my grandmother smiles. She says, "Ladybug, don't worry about me. They don't know. They don't know that my grandmother has built diamonds of men in the rough. She has made roses of women out of concrete. Mountains move at the sound of her steps. She makes even what is long lost feel kept. Her smile could make a fish breathe out of water. I could possess no humanly title more noble than her granddaughter. There is no greater honor that I am allowed, no doer justice of mine than to make her proud. My grandmother sculpted my spirit with calloused hands and a heart overflowing, imbuing me with the strength born not of privilege, but of fiercely earned knowing. They don't know about the lullabies she's sung through thin walls, how many times she's picked me up from my falls, and more importantly, how she doesn't keep count. Her motherhood, a tapestry woven with threads of sacrifice and strands of grace, a masterpiece unseen by eyes that only value pedigree and place. My grandmother has raised generations of excellence. Don't believe me? Just open your eyes. You never met a woman so sagacious, so wise, so gracious. Even with my words, you couldn't surmise. I'm talking about a charisma you wouldn't believe, a resilience you couldn't conceive, a wit no man can deceive, a love you wouldn't know how to receive. If I died and said I never knew unconditional love, I'd be a bull-faced lie. I think my grandma would raise up out her grave and set the record straight with the fire burning in her eye, man. Call it blasphemy, but I think my grandmother's touch could make a blind man see. Her soul breaking chains and setting lives free. My grandmother's name is Verna. And if God was a woman on earth, then I've been a disciple since birth. Thank you.
A thin line between the words you think, the words you say. Why are they shaking? Maybe because what they are doing is not what was ordered of them to do. What else is wrong? Like how they're getting answers so far from what they should be. They feel like they're making nothing out of thin air with these assignments, especially with testing. That's the worst. It's like take a shot and roll the dice. And what grade you get to take home to show to their guardians and hope they're not grounded with no social life. But all they can hope it's not blank. They have nothing written, nothing at all. All they have done was play with the pencils, chew on the erasers, staring at the clock, stopping any thought of doing the work. Before dazing off into the distance, watching the specks being carried away by the air conditioner. Just listening to the soothing sounds of silence, even though that's what's killing them. To them, music might work. They like music, listening to music, but even that doesn't work because they won't do the task at hand. Looking at other students whose papers so empty, at least they have their government name, the one assigned at birth. The date is a reminder that they were alive before staring back at that clock. Watching every 40 seconds before the last 35 minutes of class. That rush you feel 25 seconds later. What? Okay. The heart, your mind all start to go faster. Watching the last 20 seconds go by before the bell. Writing like that was their only purpose to get through. It has wrong. The chiming of the end, the time that was given to them. 15 seconds later, they have to give it all up. Finally, finishing the paper at 10 seconds. At least packing up their stuff at 5. Relief for finishing. Watching them as I wait for them just outside. You could peer into their eyes and see someone had twisted the hope and teared it to shreds before going to their next class to do it all over again.